I'm so grateful to be with you. This is Before College TV. We have a college conversation with Elon University students. Welcome, panel. How you doing?
Good.
Doing pretty good.
Doing great.
This is good. Man, we had a chance to visit before we went live. And let me tell you, you are in store for a lively, exciting, candid conversation. We are going to get things rolling and love to introduce you to our panel. We have Ben here, who is to my left or right, however you're looking. Then we've got Noah, who's we're in the corner from each other. And then we've got Lindsey as well, coming to you from all over the country. I am so grateful to have you guys here. Lindsey, let me start off with you. Today is April 10th. It is 4:22 Central Time, 5:22 Eastern Time. If you had not been ripped from campus, torn from your freshman experience at Elon University, what would be happening right now if you were back on campus?
Let's see. It's a Friday, so I have a class that ends at 4 o'clock on Thursdays. So I would have just recently gotten out of class on Thursdays, but my Friday classes end at 1:30. So honestly,
yeah, let's be honest.
One of my favorite places to eat on campus, which is we have a satellite location called Qdoba. They open up at 5 o'clock, and honestly, I would probably be there because I like to go early, and I would probably end up dragging Noah with me because I usually end up dragging Noah with me whenever I go to Qdoba anyway. So that's where I would probably be on a Friday at Elon.
Oh, that is so exciting. So Noah is your burrito friend.
Yes.
You are friends. And Lindsey, how long have you been friends with Noah?
Since August 23rd. And Ben. We've all been friends since August 23rd.
And Ben. Ben, would Ben be getting a burrito, or would Ben be at Qdoba as well?
No.
No, I won't.
Why are you so against Qdoba, Ben?
It's a walk.
Long walk. It's a long walk.
But you would be driving. I thought you said you would have been driving Ben.
No, dragging.
Dragging. Oh, you'd be dragging. But okay. But Ben, you won't walk.
It's about a mile walk, honestly.
And also, there's a place real close. One of the dining halls is real close to where we live. So
which dining hall?
McEwen Dining Hall.
Oh, I've heard good things about McEwen.
It's the best one on campus.
Is it really? I was just being silly. What makes McEwen, Ben? What makes McEwen so great?
At night, it has the cheesesteak bar. I tell you what, I can eat my weight in cheesesteak. I love that so much.
Wow. That's exciting. How many flavors of cheesecake and how many toppings? Can you take us to the front of the line? Yeah.
So I think they only have, before we left campus, they only had about one flavor, but they had several toppings. So you could include caramel as a topping, cherries, whipped cream, walnuts. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a few other things. Oh, chocolate as well.
And you could have as many pieces of cheesecake as you desire?
Yes.
So is that dining hall? Is that the type of dining hall where you walk in and you could have as many helpings of whatever it is you choose to participate in?
Yes.
Great. So that's good. And what are some of your favorite foods, Ben, other than the cheesecake bar?
Gosh, I really like their burgers there. But there's also this other section. It's like a vegan vegetarian section.
Boo!
I myself,
I'm kidding.
I'm not vegan nor I'm not vegetarian either. But there are some things that they have that are really good. Sometimes they'll have carrots, and I really like the boiled carrots.
The carrots are so good.
Get it in honey or whatnot and syrup, and it tastes amazing. Oh my gosh!
I was just being silly with the vegan. We have family members who are vegan, so I was joking around. But the carrots, wow! I would have never thought. I've looked at a lot of Elon University reviews, and I've never heard anything about the carrots.
Now you have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dramatic silence. That was something. So let's go over to Noah. Noah, welcome. And I should mention, all of you are freshmen, all of you are first-year students. Yes. Noah, you are from Northbrook, Illinois, which is exciting, and you are a student at Elon. Now tell me, am I saying Elon right? Do people like to say Elon or Elon?
We
Yeah,
say
it's
Elon.
Elon. So when I say Elon, does that make you cringe?
A little bit.
You don't like that. Noah does not like that. So Noah, if it is, let's see what time it is, dude. It's 4:26 on a Friday. Take us to your left side. Where would you be? Where would we be, Noah?
Well, at around 4:30, I would be probably getting ready to go to my swim practice.
Mm-hmm.
We play water polo on Fridays, and I love to do that. So I'm probably walking over to the gym right now.
Huh.
Getting ready to hop in the pool.
Wow. How about that? So you play water polo. How long have you been playing water polo?
I played water polo all throughout high school. And yeah, so I did the high school team and then I did like club teams as well.
Wow. You must be in amazing shape. Is that true?
Not as much so anymore, unfortunately.
Really? Have you just let go since you got home?
No, but there's only so much you can do.
Right. But you truly have to be like, you got to be totally fit, and you were doing it in high school. Were you recruited to play at Elon?
No, Elon doesn't have an actual water polo team or an actual swim team. That we have club swim.
Right.
Which, yes. So it's club swim, and then on Fridays we do water polo practice.
Oh, that's cool. So club swim. So when you were looking at schools, was that important to go to a school where you can get in the water?
It wasn't one of my major priorities. I knew I wanted to have like a club team, and high school swimming, it was a lot. So I wanted something a little more of a step back, and the club team was the perfect fit for me.
I think that's awesome. I mean, because you probably get to know people. Are those people on the club team your friends?
Yeah, a good amount.
Yeah. Lindsey, have you gotten to know any of the water polo swimmers in the club team?
I haven't, but Noah works as a lifeguard, so sometimes I'll go swim when I know that he's on duty because I like to swim.
That's nice, and you trust him with your life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And then Ben, do you get in the pool?
I got him once. That's about it.
What happened?
Sorry?
What happened? Why just once?
I was really focused on just going to the gym and working out, lifting weights. I hadn't swam in easily a year, 2 years, ever since I moved from my old house, which had a pool. So I was like, Noah was leaving one time just to go swim laps. I was like, I'm going to join you.
You know, I did touch on the dining hall. And before I leave the dining hall, I am curious, when it comes to dietary restrictions, is there anybody here who has any specific ones, whether you're vegan or gluten-free or vegetarian?
So I'm actually gluten-free, and in my experience, the dining halls, they're very accommodating, and they always have a gluten-free option. It's to the point, and the staff are also very, very friendly. One night, they had ran out of gluten-free hot dog buns, and the woman behind the bar noticed and said, "Oh, come in tomorrow night, I'll make a special meal for you." And came in the next night, she had prepared like a quesadilla, a gluten-free quesadilla.
Wow.
Just for meals. Yes.
That is very special that they have. That's nice that they have the gluten-free tortillas as well. And then is the vegan selection, I know I was being silly before, but they have like a really strong vegan area, and is it delicious?
The way the dining hall is split up is there are different like stations. There's like a pasta section, there's all the different like station type things, and there's a vegan and vegetarian station, and then there's also a separate salad station. So it's not like the vegan food is only the salad station. There's like an actual like prepared meal. Sometimes they have tofu, sometimes they have like other things, like vegetables or
Carrots.
Yeah, the carrots are so good.
You love the carrots.
They're so good.
Yeah, that's great. Well, there's so many things I want to get to know about all of you. I'm really curious because a lot of students are stuck, not able to go on campus. I know a lot of people were planning campus tours, and I know from my experience, I've visited Elon. Why do I say it? I go Elon. Why do I say it like that? I'm so sorry. But I visited campus, and I think you have one of the most beautiful campuses in the country. Would you agree with that?
The most beautiful. We were voted the most beautiful campus.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because I went to Indiana University, and it's really pretty, but like I took a few pictures of campus, and there were these pink flowers that were blooming, and I use them for other projects, and it was such a beautiful, amazing place. And I think that sometimes it's difficult to be in a beautiful, amazing place and to feel the whole range of emotions you feel as a first-year student. So I want to make sure that we don't just talk about how beautiful and amazing it is, and we can get into all the different pieces, but I want to take you back to high school, back to your junior year. And Noah, I would like to jump inside your head. Noah, junior year, spring, what were you thinking, man? Where were you thinking of going? Did you even know that this is where you would land?
I had an idea that I wanted to come to Elon. I was looking around still and trying to figure out exactly where, but I knew Elon had a great study abroad program and a great business school. And it also helped that it was in the South, so it was much warmer than here in Chicago.
Yes.
But,
so that was why. And then, so you're interested in Elon, but tell me, what were some other schools? Because there's a lot of really great schools in the South that can meet a lot of your requirements. So what were, let's say, 3 schools? And I'm going to ask you all this question, so you could just be on deck. Were there a few other schools that you were kind of like torn between? And tell me about those.
well, Elon was definitely my first choice, but in second place, I would go Richmond University in Virginia, Virginia, and then Boulder in Colorado.
Okay.
Those are my top 3.
Right. So those are top 3. And then you applied. Did you apply to all of them?
Yes.
And did you get into Elon?
I did. I went.
Clearly, you're a student. It's the dumbest question. Right. Right.
So I went early decision to Elon. So as soon as I found out, I pulled my applications to Richmond and Boulder, and here I am.
So you were committed. So you knew. Why did you know? Like, how could you know that well? I mean, did you visit campus? Was there, because students can't do this. So what you were able to do that helped you, I think, is really going to direct some students.
So I will say a big thing that did help was being able to be on campus, but I get that a lot of people cannot have that experience right now. But another thing, I just started reaching out in like the Facebook chat and on Snapchat as well. I just started talking to people, and it was kind of clear that everyone was really friendly and they were welcoming. And
so tell me, so you would, because a lot of students don't like to reach out. I talk to tons of students who are afraid to just talk to you. Like you're the 3 of you are helpful. You will answer questions, right? Like, because I included your social media, your Instagram, I think, and I don't know what else we have. But in the description, the show description, we're going to have your contact info, so people might reach out to you. So if they do, I mean, will you tell people you're okay with that so they know?
Oh, absolutely. I will always answer questions. I'm not always someone to ask questions, so I didn't really reach out to people.
Why?
In any of the face. I don't know. I was shy. I am shy. But I wasn't really someone like, I don't really feel a genuine connection with people over the internet as much as I do in person. So I really like to not, there were people who reached out to me and I replied, and I'm friends with them now. But it really took getting to be friends with them in person, or like going out of the way to meet them as soon as I got to campus, just to immediately like say hi and see those people. And then once I was able to actually like meet people in person, that's what really did it for me.
Yeah, I mean, you seem super friendly, and it's interesting. How did you use Snapchat to communicate with people, and how did you find them, Noah?
so I was first off in the Facebook group chat, and a lot of people are just posting like, oh, if you live here, join this Snapchat group. If you are into this, join the Snapchat group. And so I did that, and yeah, I got to meet a few people that I'm now friends with.
Was this after you were accepted?
Yes.
Okay. So, but beforehand, students, could they still go to those, can they still be part of those Snapchat conversations and just kind of observe?
They can, yes.
So is it weird though to like, if you're a junior or senior, if you got like a Snapchat message from someone, would you think that you didn't know, would you think that's weird, or would you be like, oh, cool?
I'd be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And something that's really good, something that I did is, there are a lot of Instagram pages, not only for Elon, but for other students. Like, I think the Elon one is called like Elon 2024, but there are like other ones that are for students trying to consider where they want to go to college or have already decided on a college or university. And they can go on that page and like write up a little bio and a photo or a couple photos and send it to the person running the account, and the person will post it, and then people who see that post can interact with it and contact the person and be like, oh, hey, I saw your post. You're looking for a roommate. I'm looking for a roommate. Or, oh, you like this artist? I like this artist. I met a friend of mine who I'm good friends with this year just because we liked the same artist and we ended up going to a concert together. So
nice. What artist?
Logic.
Right. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I don't know a lot of Logic, but I'm gonna download some later. Right.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. So Lindsey, were you rejected from any schools?
Oh, yes. So Elon was not my top choice. My top choice was Wake Forest University, and I applied early decision. And actually, I know that I'm sharing this story, but I also know of a lot of other people at Elon who had this exact same experience, which is kind of weird, but also kind of funny. But a lot of people have Wake Forest as their top choice, and then I was deferred and then later waitlisted. And decided to just pull my application because I kind of knew the whole time that Wake Forest wasn't necessarily for me. I kind of got caught up in the name and the business school idea of it. And that didn't really feel authentic to myself. But being at Elon, so I went on a tour there, and the first tour I went on, I was the only person on the tour. It must have been an odd time of day or an odd day of the week, but I was the only person on the tour. So the girl leading the tour ended up spending 2 hours with me just talking about Elon and what there is to do on campus. And I think that that's like the number one thing that kind of drew me. And I was just sort of thinking about it now, like other students who are deciding on schools right now, they don't really have the choice to go to school and tour and spend 2 hours. But the fact that there are 3 Elon students here talking to you right now is a big indicator of how open and excited we are about Elon. Like as soon as Noah texted me and he was like, hey, you want to be part of this? I was like, absolutely, sign me up. I don't know what it is, but I'll do it. And I think a lot of Elon students are like that and super enthusiastic about what we do and very excited about Elon itself.
Yeah, well, you can feel that. So it's really kind of you. And it definitely comes through. I know that students aren't on campus, but the 3 of you are very friendly. Ben, let me ask you, was Elon your first choice?
No, definitely.
It was. I like when it's not too. It kind of adds some drama to it. Ben, you are from Northern High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. When it comes to your high school profile, what did you do? Like, what were some of the things that you were involved with, and why did those things lead you to where you are today?
I kind of played like a low-key role in high school. I didn't really do any major sports. I didn't hold a sport. Like in freshman year, I was on the track team, but that's really where that ended. I basically wanted to work up my grades and work up my GPA and focus on academics so that I could meet the specific criteria that Elon has.
What was the criteria? What was your GPA and your test scores? If you're comfortable asking, if you don't answer.
GPA in high school, unweighted, I'm pretty sure it was a 3.5 or a 3.6.
Right.
And then just test scores were averages of like A's and B's, and
yeah.
I just had to be sure that I wanted to be sure that I was prepared and ready for Elon and for college. Yeah. And that really was my main focus.
Interesting. And now you're very involved. It says, you are involved with your human service studies and adventure-based learning. Mm-hmm. You're an adventurer. You love adventure. You love adrenaline.
Yes.
You're right. You're a thrill seeker. Definitely.
I've gone abroad a few times with the Boy Scouts, and we've gone on high adventure trips. So that alone, going out into the woods, going out into the wilderness, is definitely something that I really enjoy doing. And what's Elon's study abroad program, as Noah was mentioning, it's a very strong and very powerful study abroad program. That's probably the words I can say for it. And it's a very supportive one as well.
What makes it so good? I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but like what makes it so good, man?
The administration, the faculty and staff there really worked with you to be sure that where you're going is where you want to go. I mean, they won't just say like, all right, where do you want to go? And you just list the name and be like, all right, go. Like if you list several names, they'll work through it with you. They'll be like, okay, pros and cons to certain different locations. They get on a one-on-one level with you. And that's another thing that I really looked for in a university. And Elon has that one-on-one level like any other university that I've seen or have gone and visited.
Wow, that's great. That's really wonderful that you found that and they have that. Does everyone go abroad?
Not everyone, but everyone is required to fulfill 2 of the 5 Elon learning requirements, which is the ELR graduation requirement that we have. We have to complete 2 of them. There are 5. I can try really hard to name all 5. There's undergraduate research, global studies, which is studying abroad. There is service learning, which is X amount of volunteer hours. There is, I just named the 3 that I know.
There's a leadership ELR.
Yeah, leadership and
internships.
Internship. There we go. Thanks, guys. I just named the ones that I was involved in. But yeah, a lot of people do go abroad because there are a lot of choices, and also and also to graduate, you have to fulfill a capstone requirement, and there are several capstone experiences that do go abroad as well.
Gotcha. That's interesting. And Noah, now tell me a little bit about what you're doing. You know, where do you spend your time when you're not at home in quarantine on campus? Some of the places where you found connection, and I think I mixed up your guys. I think I mixed up the profile, and I think you're involved with the adventure-based learning. Is that right? Is that you?
I am involved in something similar called Adventures in Leadership.
Okay.
Which is a pre-orientation program that takes place over the summer. So incoming students can come to Elon for a week, and we do a variety of outdoor activities. We have sessions such as going to the Outer Banks, going whitewater rafting, backpacking, and a lot more. Yeah,
and you're facilitating that. You're one of the people who are there.
Yes, I am. I'm going to be leading those sessions this summer.
Yeah. Are they happening? Do we know if they're happening?
So as of now, they are happening. Of course, coronavirus, it's very unpredictable.
Yeah, that sucks, man. It's rough. It's like it's because you train and you work so hard to do that. How hard was it to become a leader? Did you have to interview for that?
Yes, there was an interview process, and
Lindsey, why are you laughing about this? What's so funny?
Because Ben, Noah, and I all did the program, not together, but we all participated in the program. And I was very passionate about the program, and I applied to be a facilitator and didn't get the position. And we're all on level where we can joke about it now, but it was definitely a very hard rejection.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You have such a wonderful way, and clearly there's so many ways that people will be able to enjoy you and use your wisdom. And I'm sure, I always think when you get rejected one year, then you apply the next year.
Absolutely.
Are you going to apply the next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great. So that was a sore spot, but I'm glad that it's nice that you have this friendship. I want to hear more about the program, and then I want to understand how the 3 of you have gotten so close so quickly, because it's really a fun thing to see. So tell me a little bit more, Noah, about, how did you get involved? And I was going to ask if it's competitive, and clearly it is.
So yes, it is a little bit competitive to become a facilitator, but to sign up, we just search Elon, or go on the Elon website and search Adventures in Leadership 2020. And we still have quite a bit of spots open for the summer, but it's first come, first serve. So they do fill up fast normally. Right.
But then to be a facilitator, to be a leader, is you got to go through a whole process, and I'm sure that's right. That's great. When it comes to getting in, we have a question about testing. Test optional. Was that an option when you all were applying?
No, but I did apply. Like I said, Wake Forest was my top choice, which is a test optional school. I chose not to submit my scores. I did have a relatively good score on the ACT. I didn't take the SAT. I only took the ACT. And my score was above the Elon average. And I personally am of the belief that standardized tests are not a good measure of intelligence. So whenever I didn't have to submit it, I didn't. But it really depends. If you have anything above a 30, absolutely submit it. If you have anything above a 28, seriously consider it, like that type of thing. And even if you don't have scores that are that high, I would think, I would just say, like, there are a lot of different aspects that play into a application. It's not just scores and it's not just GPA. And I wish that someone would sit there and drill that into my junior year of high school head, is that it's not just GPA and scores, because I definitely beat myself up about that a lot. And it's not only those two things. There are a lot of factors that go into it.
What are a couple of those things where, if a junior's watching this, that they can focus on instead of worrying about all the testing?
If your school, so demonstrated interest is a thing. But you
can't do that right now because you can't visit.
Well, you can't visit, but you can send emails to admission, send an email to admission and say, like, hey, because of this situation, like, I can't come to our campus, but I just wanted to ask a couple questions, and then ask some questions about campus. You can just make up questions and say, like, and then your name, like, gets put in a list in a program, and you get notified about having interest that way. So that's a really good way to do that.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then another thing, which again is really difficult right now, but it's just like your high school activities. Do things that you're passionate about, and don't do things that everybody else is doing. If everybody else is doing student government because everybody's doing student government for an application, guess what? That means every application is going to look the exact same, and colleges don't want to see that. They want to see a wide variety of things. Like, if you're taking care of someone, who's sick, or volunteering here or there, like, those are much better things than just blanket things that everyone participates in.
Yeah.
Do things that make you stand out.
Yeah, I think it's a tough line to walk when you want to be wanted. I mean, I think there's this fear of not getting in and not being wanted, but then really focusing on what you want and trusting that you're going to get somewhere that's going to be a good match.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems like Lindsey, you've gotten to that place where you're kind of like, it's about what I want, right? Yes. Like, you got beat up enough.
Yeah.
To get to that place. And I say that with such respect, because you're here and you're still, like, out here and doing it, which is great. So explain to me a Tuesday night. Let's just take me to a normal Tuesday night in your life. I would like to know about a Tuesday night, and then I would like to know about a Saturday night. Okay. So tell me about a Tuesday night, then a Saturday night. So Noah, do you want to tell me about a Tuesday night?
Sure. So
normal.
I will say a big part of college is doing your work, and that's a lot of what my Tuesday nights are. But another great thing about college is you have a lot of free time. So you'd probably find me hanging out with, these guys, and just
where are you doing your work? Are you doing it in a residence hall? Are you doing it in the library, student center?
I do my homework in Noah's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
in my room or in the library, just wherever you can find a great study spot. Like, if it's nice out, I like to put my hammock up by the lake.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, definitely.
Homework outside is the best, because the weather in North Carolina is super great. It was like 80 degrees today, and super nice, just a little bit windy. But it's really nice, and we have two lakes on campus, and there are tons of trees and tons of benches. You can hang up your hammock if you have a hammock. If you're going to Elon, I would seriously recommend getting a hammock. They're like $25 on Amazon. Don't buy the over expensive ones. But
wait, where do you like keep your hammock? Over your shoulder, in your pocket, in your backpack, around your waist?
It packs down to like this big, so it's small. But sometimes I'll put it in my backpack, or I'll just leave it in my dorm unless I know I'm going out to the hammock area.
Are there hooks everywhere, or do you hang it on trees?
We hang it on trees with straps that come with the hammock.
Is it competitive? Like, do people race to the tree?
Yes.
Like, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So not everybody gets a spot.
Well, all three of us, we're all in the outdoor living. There are places on Elon called Living Learning Communities, and it's a program that you can apply for. And it's basically where I think the way they sell it to you is living with a group of like-minded individuals. And you asked earlier how we all got to be friends so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was through that program. So when you moved on campus, and we're going to get to Saturday night in a little bit, but when you moved on campus, did any of you know each other that first day you came to campus?
Yes.
So Ben and I actually knew each other coming in, because we both participated in AIL, and we met over the summer on that.
So AIL is that quick trip where you do some type of adventure and you meet people. And you guys,
Yeah.
when you guys were on that trip, how did you start a conversation? How was this relationship born?
Tons of icebreaker games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how the two of you connected.
And then just someone going up to them and saying, "Hi, this is who I am." And
Who said hi first? Noah or you? Who made the first move?
I don't know.
You don't even
That was a
know.
while ago.
It
Right.
was probably definitely Ben.
Oh, you think it was Ben? Noah tends to be a little quieter.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your thing. Well, it's interesting, to know who, because everybody's kind of got their personality. So like when you go in there, I think that could be nerve wracking. Was it nerve wracking when you went to that program over the summer?
Yes.
For the session that I went on, not really, because it was local, as in within the state. So I wasn't too worried about it. We went to a location. We went to Beaufort, North Carolina. So I've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was comfortable with going there and meeting new people. I love doing that. So I wasn't too uncomfortable with the whole expedition.
That's nice.
I was just uncomfortable because I'd never done anything like it before. I had
What was
never
the trip?
really.
What was it specifically? Yeah.
My trip was backpacking. I went on a 3-day backpacking trip and then spent 2 nights at Elon, but we were still camping the entire time. I'd never done anything like that in my life. Super stressed out about it at first, partially just because I'd never done anything like it, but then also part of me was just like, oh, I want to make a good first impression. And they split you into small groups, and at the end you end up with, at least for my session, we went with a group of 6 people. I still talk to those same 6 people literally probably once or twice a week, every week. We're still close enough, we follow each other on social media, still text each other, use the group chat. Our group was really close, and I feel like I always say like, oh, our group was really close, but every group was like that. There wasn't really a situation that I can think of that I've heard that it was like not a great connection. And there you can continue that back on campus of meeting up, but then you can also meet with other people from different sessions. Like that's how like Ben and Noah went on a different session than I did, but we still had that bonding experience over that trip. And then we also, Elon has a program called S'mores with Outdoors every Wednesday night from 9 to 10. And there's just like free s'mores, and you can just go, and pretty much everyone goes. It's awesome.
Wow. So you get marshmallows and graham crackers and chocolate. Do they have gluten-free graham crackers?
They do not. I normally just go for the bonfire itself, though.
Okay. How about vegan marshmallows?
I don't know.
These are all very important questions. I want to know about the s'mores, but that's fun. So you'll just go for the bonfire. That's great. So I want to ask about Greek life. That's coming. But Lindsey, when you met these 2 guys, so you move into a living and learning center, living and learning communities. I'm a big fan of living and learning communities. I think it's a really easy way to connect with people. Yours was an adventure living and learning community.
Outdoors, yeah.
Outdoors. Which should just be an outdoors. They shouldn't even put you inside. Have you be an outdoor? So how did you meet these 2 individuals? Tell me that story.
The very first day, we had a hall meeting with our RA, and our RA was quite the character, but we loved him. He went abroad second semester, so he left us after J-term. Are you familiar with what J-term is? Do I need to explain that?
I have no idea.
J-term is a month-long program. Instead of having semesters, we have 2 semesters and then a middle semester. And how that works is we have classes from August until holiday break in December. And then we have a January term, which I think everybody calls it J-term.
J-term.
It's a month-long semester where you take 1 intensive course. It's for 4 credits. There's also a lot of study abroad opportunities, not for first years, but because you have to apply to the program before August in order to get it. But there's a lot of study abroad programs that I'm hopefully applying for a study abroad program for J-term next year.
Are they competitive?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, study abroad. It depends on the trip. The one that I'm applying for is very competitive. Yes.
Which one?
It's a New Zealand trip. You go to New Zealand and it's on ecotourism. It's you basically you go camping and live in a hostel and situations like that, and experience a lot of the outdoor life in New Zealand.
If you don't get it, then are you just stuck at home?
No, you can go to school.
I mean, are there other abroad programs? Like if you don't get in your first choice, are there other ones that are wonderful?
There are a lot of winter term study abroad options or J term study abroad options.
Okay.
If you apply for one and don't get it, they'll give you a list of other ones that still are open. But I really want to go on the New Zealand one, so I probably won't study abroad if I don't get the trip, and I'll just apply for the same program the following year.
Right. Yeah. And then you'll get it. Cool. Yeah, that's so interesting. So then with these guys, you had the RA meeting and then you just started talking to them, or Noah started talking to you? Because we know Noah's the one who is initiating the contest.
After that, we sort of just I have a lot of memories at the very beginning of the school year we have a gorgeous common room and we just didn't sit there. We sat in the hallway outside of the common room, which was so weird. I don't know why we did it, but we just there would just be people sitting outside of the common room and we'd be like, oh, hey, how are you? Where are you from? This and that. And it's as long as you're willing to smile and wave and be friendly, people would reciprocate that positivity, and we just got really close through that.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I know before we started, I was talking about gender and making sure that I refer to you as a gender that you identify with. So being a female and meeting these men, you living on the same hall, right? You live in the same hall,
yes.
Right?
Not all places on campus are like that. Obviously, the sorority and fraternity houses are same-sex living, and then there is only for the first years.
Yeah.
There is there's a single-sex. There are 2 female single-sex dorm buildings, and then there's 1 male same-sex dorm building. And our dorm was kind of a mesh. So we had 2 dorm buildings that were fused together, and we were fused with one of the same-sex dorm buildings. But we never really saw the people who were in that dorm just because they were separated by 2 sets of double doors. Right.
Was it weird though, all of a sudden being in a community where you're living with these men and you're hanging out in this guy's room studying, and I mean, I know I'm making it sound I'm making it sound a lot more I guess inappropriate than of course it can be totally appropriate, but was that weird? Did other people find that strange? Tell me just about living in a co-ed situation.
It depends on the person, I think. I've always gotten along better with guys than I have with girls. So for me, I immediately just clicked with a lot of the guys, mostly because they're all clowns and I like that energy. So we're all sort of...
You're calling these guys clowns.
Yes.
Right. You guys are okay with that, right?
Really close, of course.
I call her short, so it's fine.
Short.
I'm 4'11", so...
Oh, there's no way... No one would ever know.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell. So that's nice. So it's nice that you have that, and it's great that you are still friends, and it sounds like you got really lucky. When it comes to Elon, I know the Greek community. I think I did an event with Greeks when I came to campus. I know that's a real big part of life on campus. Ben, are you affiliated or were you rushing? When does Rush happen, Ben?
Rush, well, to start off, I'm not affiliated with any Greek life, but I know that Rush, I believe, occurred second semester. I think. No, first semester. I'm really not caught up with the whole Greek life.
It happens. There is a week-long period between January J-term and second semester, and it's called fake break because a lot of people stay on campus, but there's no classes. And the reason a lot of people stay on campus is because it's Rush that week. So there's no classes, but it's a very intensive process. None of us are affiliated. I am one of 3 girls on my or 5 girls on my hall of 23 people who did not rush. I did not rush. I don't know if I regret that or not. I think that I knew going into college that Greek life wasn't something for me. As I said, I get along better with guys than I do girls. But my advice would be, if you don't know if you want to rush or not, rush, because you can always say you don't want to join it, but at least you have the options in front of you to join or not join. By not rushing, you immediately close that door.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I know so many people who say, I would never go into Greek life, and they end up being president of their chapter.
Yep.
And it sounds like you may rush next semester. Would you rush next year?
I probably will go through the process, yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Then what about you, Noah?
I am still debating it. Part of me regrets not rushing in the fall or over fake break, but then part of me is happy with my decision.
Why did you make that decision? Because I'd love to kind of hear what your thought process was and how that's changed.
So I'm Jewish, and I was thinking about rushing AEPI, the Jewish fraternity on campus, because I know it has a lot of great connections, and especially since I want to go into business, and in that professional sense, it would give me a lot of connections. I just don't know if I identify with those guys, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, so I was an API at Indiana University. So, I hear what you're saying, and it's an interesting thing. I think when you go and you approach it because I transferred after my first year, and when you go as a second year, you know what you want. And I think when you know what you want, you have a much better balance because you're not worried about being wanted. And I think exactly what you were saying of you really didn't know if that's where you wanted to go, and working through that process is really powerful. And it's nice to know that it seems like you're happy, like you could be at Elon and not be in a and not be in a fraternity or sorority and still be happy. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. It is very different for girls than guys, though. Talking about just like the party scene and not all of what Greek life is associated with, but as you were asking about Saturday nights, I'll go ahead and jump in and answer that question.
Take it to Saturday. It's Saturday night.
So Saturdays, it really just depends. You definitely do not have to go out, and you definitely do not have to drink if you don't want to. That's something that's amazing about at least my experience on Elon, is because in my head, I had zero experience with alcohol before getting to college. And I think that once I got to college, I was very scared that people were going to force me to drink. And I was really stressed out about that. And I should not have been as stressed out as I was, because I definitely could have I could have not drank at all and it would have been fine. And a lot of times, people won't drink just because it's more fun to just sit and hang out with your friends when the loud music is playing. Or it's a balance that you definitely have to learn. And I think that it took a while for me in particular to learn that. But there's really not a lot of pressure to drink if you don't want to. And another thing is going to fraternity parties. I'd never done anything like that before. And for girls, it's not that big of a deal. You can just walk into any party that you want. But for men, it's very different. You have to know someone in the fraternity and be invited in, or you have to, have a text from someone saying hey, you can come tonight. Then you show
your phone.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
So hey man, I'm in. It's
yeah. Okay. Or they'll be name 5 brothers, and you'll be oh. So it's definitely different for girls than guys. So a lot of guys who do rush Greek is because they want automatic access to their own fraternity, I guess.
So Ben, how is your social life impacted? And Noah, how is your social life impacted by not being in a fraternity for your first year until you were, until school got canceled?
For me, at least it hasn't really impacted me that much. If I want to go to a party, I can occasionally get in. If not, I'm more than happy just to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
we all normally just travel in a group, my friend group, and
Yeah, our hall is pretty much our friend group.
That's great. So you have your places, and you have and Ben, I know you have the gym, and I know that Noah, you have the pool, and you have your adventure. And then Lindsey, I understand that you're also involved with the radio program, the radio station.
Yeah.
What do you do with that, and how do you get to do it?
So there's a girl in our hall who I'm really close with, or before school got canceled, but her and I are really close, and she hosted a radio show, and she was like, hey, I'm looking for someone to come host my radio show with me because I like to do it with a friend. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because I promised myself when I got to college I would open up my ideas a little bit more and not just stick to what I know or stick to the type of people that I would have been friends with in high school. And honestly, if I was friends with the type of people that I was friends with in high school, I don't think I'd be friends with the people on my hall just because they're so different than me, but we're all so different in a way that's good together. But she asked me to come guest host her radio show, so I said absolutely, and I fell in love with it. I ended up doing it another time, and then the people who are in charge of the radio show, in charge of the club, they were like, if you want to guest host again, you have to actually be trained to be a DJ yourself. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And now I have my own radio show. So
that's great. Yeah, that's so cool.
How that went on. And I do it a little bit differently than she does. She has guests come on, and she plays about 20 minutes worth of music and talks for the other 40 minutes and just talks about Elon life, stuff like that. And I play 55 minutes of music.
Nice.
It's very different, but I love music, and I love to share my own music taste with the world. So that's a really good way to do it. My parents listen in. You can listen on the internet. It's a lot of fun. And, yeah.
That's awesome. And this brings me to the speed round. We're getting towards the end, but the speed round is if you are a senior in high school and you are looking at Elon and you're thinking, okay, where are the places that I can find access to other people? The motto is people, places, patience. It's in order to have a really good first year in college, you need to have your places and you need to find your people. So I always encourage students to find places where they can sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. So sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. I know you were talking about the Newman. What was the Newman? The Newman what?
Newman Lumen. It's at the Elon Truitt Center, which is the Spiritual Learning Center. And it's a program every Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30, and it's a group for people of all faiths to get together and sort of celebrate Elon.
Yeah, so that's great. So there's no admission, and I know that a lot of times you have to apply to do things because it's a competitive university, so you don't always get in to everything you want the first time. But just kind of run through. We'll just kind of you can keep rattling them off. Noah, why don't I start with you? Some of the places where students have access, first year students can get involved, and if there are things they have to try out for, you could just mention they have to try out. But I know we'll start with the club sports. Do you have to try out for the club sports?
For some of them, yes, some no. I know volleyball you do have to try out, but for example, swimming is anyone can join.
You just show up and you do that. Great. Are there other ones that you can? What's that?
You do have to pay a club fee though.
Gotcha. What are some other places that students can find connection and community and easily get engaged with right from the get-go?
Intramural Sports is something you don't have to apply for, or I don't know if you have to pay for it. We were planning on doing a hall intramural soccer team, but obviously that got canceled with the semester. But you can do intramural sports without having to try out. You can host a radio show. All you have to do is go through training. You just have to go on. There's a website we have called Phoenix Connect, and that holds pretty much every organization that we have. You can sit there. Before I committed to Elon, I looked through every organization that Elon had. And then again, once I got to Elon, I looked through every organization that Elon has. Again, it's called Phoenix Connect at Elon.
That's great. That's great. Does anyone want to add any other place that's an easy connection? I know you mentioned the Jewish community. I'm also Jewish, so I know when it comes to the population, sometimes that's an important factor, whether someone's Jewish or Catholic or Muslim, wherever they are. I know those are really important. Are there other multicultural centers and places of other faith? I know that we all appear to be white. I'm a white man. And I want to make sure that when it comes to diversity and inclusion, are there other places and facilities that you could recommend or that you have friends who are part of?
Yes. So we have CREED, which is Center for, I don't know what the initials stand for, but we have we have different communities for LGBTQ community. We have the Sparks community, which is educating people about mental health, physical health, and sexual health. That's really good. They're a really cool place to check out. Campus recreation, again, is like the gym and other events hosted by them. Elon Outdoors is something that all of us are involved in, which you can sign up for outdoor trips. You do have to pay a fee for that, but there are a lot of really cool programs for that. There are a lot of different diversity centers, and then there are, again, different organizations for different groups. We have a organization fair, and you can look at the different organizations, and it tells you the different things once you get to campus.
What about diversity? Is there a diversity on campus? Is that something that you see a lot of, or is that something that there isn't as much of?
It's something Elon could definitely work on.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes. Very much.
Right. So that's one piece. But those people who you meet who maybe don't look like you or are from different places, are they welcomed, included? Is it,
Of course.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bisexual, and there's no problem with that. Like, there's a lot of support on campus for me and for other LGBTQ people. So that's something that is definitely out there for individuals who seek it out. There are different programs and organizations and clubs. There's a club that I'm in called Spectrum, again, which just supports that type of thing.
Was that easy to get involved with?
Yeah.
Have you always been comfortable in your skin when it comes to?
I have, yes.
Okay.
I know it can be difficult for people, but I would encourage, once you get to college, it's a very different world. Your parents aren't there. And like,
hopefully.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, your parent, like I said, like, your parents aren't there. You're not living with your parents anymore. And if you feel like you want to get involved with something that feels right and authentic to you, and you know that it's the right thing to do, and I would totally recommend it.
What about the transgender, non-identifying community? Are there members of those communities as well?
I definitely know there are. I'm just not familiar with resources. I know that there are gender-neutral bathrooms on campus, and I know that there are people like Sparks you can talk to about that. Again, like I said, sexual health. And Spectrum is the LGBTQ center on campus. We have a Title IX coordinator, and there are a bunch of different resources and people. All you have to do is just look it up on the Elon website.
Yeah, that's great. That's really helpful information. If there are questions anybody else has, let me know. We're going to be wrapping things up just in the next 5 minutes. When it comes to the most uncomfortable, there's two things. I was thinking the most uncomfortable experience. I haven't even touched on academics. So let me we've had such a great conversation. It's so interesting. The academic piece, have any of you faced challenges? Have you changed your major? Have you had like a breakdown in the classroom?
So
Yeah.
in the classroom.
Not in the classroom.
You had your breakdown. Ben, tell me about your breakdown.
Short and quick and didn't go on too long. It was just, I used to be a bio major, and I took all biology classes my first semester of my first year in college, and I don't recommend that for anybody. Anybody who wants to have some free time and wants to watch out for their mental health, because it definitely does take a toll on you. First semester, I really didn't have enough time, I personally thought, to go out and see people because of the amount of work I was under and the amount of stress I was also under as well. So
did you get through it? Did you fail some quizzes and tests?
Yeah, I definitely got some F's on some tests and quizzes, and really.
How'd that feel? Because you're a smart guy, right?
Felt bad, but
yeah. Did you tell anyone? Were you ashamed? Were you embarrassed? Were you depressed?
I was more embarrassed at myself to let my grades slip as much as they did, because I've always been this sort of try to be type A kind of person and keep up with everything and try to do as much work as possible. And, in college, I learned that everybody worked at their own pace, and college courses are not the same as high school courses. So if you take a lot of science courses in high school and you're like, I can do this, so you take a bunch of science courses in college, it's really not the same, because instead of taking 1 or 2 AP classes in high school and the rest are honors, you're now taking AP level classes in high school or in college throughout all of college, because those AP classes in high school prepare you for what college is going to throw at you. And definitely taking AP classes, that prepared me, but I would not recommend in the future for future students to sort of go down that path and take a bunch of courses.
So if you had taken fewer classes and kind of staggered it, you feel like that would have put you in a better situation to get the help you needed?
Definitely would have. I found out in my science classes that biology is not for me. Right. I have a general interest, but it's not something that would probably be good for me as a career option. And I feel like if I had taken just 1 or 2 science classes to figure that out instead of taking like 5,
wow,
that would have been a lot better and more nice to my GPA. But
yeah, that's helpful. I think that's really hard. A lot of people who go to schools where you clearly have to work hard to get in. There's that feeling of feeling like an imposter, not thinking you're smart enough or good enough, and then when a science course kicks your butt, it really makes you doubt yourself. You clearly got through it. Was there a center, a tutoring center? Was there a teacher who helped you, Ben? And tell me, just so we know how people got help, how people can get help.
So for me, I have a learning disability. I have a learning comprehension. So whenever I read stuff, there's a disconnection between my eyes to my brain to my mouth. So like if I read stuff, I have to read it over several times. I know that there are disability resources that are in the library on the 2nd floor. They worked with me nonstop. They offer, if you activate your disabilities within any university, but Elon for me in particular, it allows me more time on my tests and quizzes. It allows me an extended deadline for certain essays and certain projects, because with me, it takes me a lot longer to process stuff and to work with things academic wise than it does me for other people.
Were you forthcoming with that? Did you keep that a secret, or did you immediately take advantage of those resources?
In college, I was very forthcoming, but in high school, I was very embarrassed and very scared to say that I have a learning disability, because it's just like my junior and senior brain, and just throughout high school, I tried to get good enough grades. And I mean, I did, but I had friends that barely studied and they got A's and B's. And I was over here studying my butt off, trying to, be sure that I can at least get a B. So it definitely was a lot to overcome for going into college. But one of the great things about going to college is that you're not necessarily judged in a negative way. People support you. It's very much a support system. If you surround yourself with people that are wonderful, like my floor and these 2 wonderful people in the call. I mean, it was definitely a tough thing to get through. But
what about that student who has a learning difference? And I take a long time to learn. I always say I'm kind of messy smart, where I get it wrong 2 or 3 times and then I'm really great. Yep. And I don't learn as quickly as the person sitting next to me. And I felt dumb for most of my life. And something I've really struggled with. But for that student who is a junior or senior in high school who has a learning difference, what can you tell them to make it easier for them right now?
Definitely just reach out to, I had a personal tutor that assisted me with vocabulary, with reading comprehension. Talk to your guidance counselor, because they definitely helped me as well. They helped me reach out, helped me get the courage to reach out to my teachers in high school and say, hey, this is my situation. Can we work with this? Can there be incentives for this? And it definitely helped after reaching out, but it was taking that first step to going up to either your parents to then help you go, or to your guidance counselor. It's that one step that's difficult, but after that, it all just falls into place. And
right. That's great. Well, I think it's amazing. I think to have the courage and confidence to talk about it, like, because it's just how people learn. Noah, what has been your hardest experience your first year? Being homesick, crying, depressed, difficult times. Did you have any tough moments?
So probably my toughest moment would just be adjusting to the workload. Similar to Ben, I also have a learning disability, and mine's more around organization, finding like the main idea in a passage. So it took me a little bit to like find out what works best for me and how I want to organize my time to accommodate that.
And they helped you to do that?
Yes.
When you were looking at schools, was that something you had talked about, and was that important in your college search?
It was. On one hand, like I knew it would be nice to have the resources, but it wasn't like my number one priority per se.
Okay, right. Interesting. And gosh, there's so much to share. I want to wrap this up, and I want to ask you two questions. One is, what is the best part about going to Elon University for each of you? And we'll do that real quick, and you can be real short with this. So Lindsey, the best part, the thing that gives you the most joy about your college experience.
I found my people there. I live with my best friends, and coming home made me realize that they're not down the hall anymore. And I cannot wait until the three of us are living right next door. I will literally be closer to the two of them next year than I was this year, because instead of being 4 doors down, they'll be 1 door down. So I found my people, and we're all living in a similar area next year. And that gives me so much joy, just like knowing that I found my people and I found my friends. And I know that not everybody can say that first semester, but unusual. I do think, it is unusual, but I do think that if you put yourself out there, you'll at least find some good people. And there are a lot of amazing people at Elon who will totally sit there and be your friends and are awesome people and wonderful and outgoing.
Thanks. That's wonderful. Ben, what do you have to say? Your favorite thing?
Just that, again, with the people, but also the family culture that surrounds Elon, both with the faculty and staff as well as the surrounding students. Just everybody is always positive and uplifting. Like you never, if you're having a bad day for whatever reason, you could always either reach out to a professor or reach out to a student that you know, and they're willing to help, and they're willing to, step outside of the box, think outside of the box, and figure out ways. I mean, I've had professors meet me for coffee and for lunch. Other schools I don't see really do that as active or as much, and Elon definitely has that. That's definitely what's unique about Elon, is that one-on-one experience with professors.
Yeah. That sounds great. What about you, Noah?
So I know it's repetitive, but it is really the people at Elon. The professors, they have a genuine interest in you and your life. They actually care about you. And like the people at Elon, it's such a welcoming community where everyone really does care about you and they want to see you succeed and thrive.
Yeah.
Like Lindsey said, I also found my people at Elon.
Yeah, it sounds like you all did. You're very lucky. If you were to talk to a freshman in high school, this is the last thing we're going to do, and then we're going to say goodbye. You're talking to that freshman who is starting off their high school career. They're worried about college. I know, Lindsey, it sounds like you had a lot of big feelings surrounding college and what was next. If you could go back in time and tell what to do and how to manage this, what would you tell you, and speak directly to you as a freshman, so that other students going through this can learn and not have to go through
I was not cool in high school at all. Luckily, there's no such thing as really being cool in college. Everybody's just there in college. But I was not cool at all in high school, and I went to a graduating class of about 100 people, and I was not cool, and I did not get invited to any parties or anything like that. So something I would tell myself is, first of all, don't beat yourself up about not being social. Don't try to pretend and be someone that you're not. In high school, that's really difficult, but don't lose track of who you are in high school, because when you get to college, you can absolutely be 100% the person that you are and that the person that you feel you are, and there will be people who will accept you for that. It's a much bigger community. And also you don't have to like make up for the fact that if you are not cool in high school. I totally relate. And if you're not going to parties and stuff now, you don't have to make up for that the first weekend of college. You have 4 years. So that is definitely something I would tell myself is make friends. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations or be foolish. Just understand that college is the same amount of time as high school is. It's 4 years. And as long and as difficult as high school may seem, college is going to feel very different than that.
That's good. When I do the show on the first week of school, I'm going to bring you back.
Okay.
It sounds like you had a wild first week, and there are many more stories there that we have not gotten into. We're going to have to get into next time. Noah, what would you tell yourself?
Kind of similar to Lindsey, just be yourself and don't worry about what other people think. Your experience is what you make of it, and you can reinvent yourself in college if need be. But be genuine, be yourself, and live truthfully, I guess.
That's wonderful. And what about you, Ben?
I'm picking back on both of them. Be yourself. I got worried a lot about what people thought of me and what people said about me. And it really did hurt my academics at times. But just to tell myself not to worry about it. Like, you're probably not going to see half these people
ever again.
After your 4 years in high school, you're probably never going to see them or talk to them again. The people in college are the ones that you will stay connected with throughout life, and that's where you can recreate yourself and set a better atmosphere for yourself.
That's so cool because, I think people look at Elon and they see a college community where it's a really Greek community. Maybe they think it's cliquey. Maybe they think it's hard to find your friends and community. And I think you've really done an extraordinary job of showing just a different side. And also Greek life's an amazing life, an amazing place. And we talked about how that's something that you may also do and participate in. But I think it's really nice to see that there are lots of ways to find your people and to find your places. I know that you have all made yourself available, and in the description of our conversation today, there's going to be access. So if anyone watching this has additional questions, our panelists said, please reach out to them. They're leaders on campus and they want to help you. I'm so grateful. If I can help any of you in any way, please let me know. I'm so happy to be in your corner and so thankful that you can be here with me. We are going to wrap this up. For those of you watching, please check out Before College TV. You're going to see this wonderful version of this. Also, we got a lot of programming coming up, and I'd love for you to check it out. And if you're interested, subscribe, send me notes, let me know what I can do to help and support you. Panelists, you're amazing. Thank you very much. Stick around for one sec. Everybody, thanks for being here and look forward to the next conversation.